Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Primetime Sports Talk YouTube channel. My name is MJ Hurley, and what I have for you today is going to be a little insight into my experience covering the NFL draft, specifically the first round in person. So, for those of you who weren't aware, I was actually in Cleveland reporting on the NFL draft in person for Primetime Sports Talk. So, I was able to interview. Not directly, obviously, not one on one, but along with all the other media, I was able to interview, grab some clips from some of the amazing first round prospects of the 2021 NFL draft. So, what you're going to be looking at for the rest of this video, I'm going to give you guys the question I asked because it's a little hard to hear that on the audio. So I cut that part out. You're going to see on the screen the question I asked. Then you're going to hear the response from the player. And then I'm going to do a very quick, very short breakdown of the pick. In my personal opinion, again, I'm not the biggest draft expert. If you want to get much better draft analysis than you'll get from me, make sure to go to primetimesportstalk.com and you will get plenty of that there. But without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into it because, again, you're probably here for the interviews and not necessarily for me. So I'm going to go in order. The first one being Zach Wilson, quarterback from BYU, who was drafted by the New York Jets.
I think it's the excitement, the ability to make, some of those tricky throws, the ability to, throw the ball into a tight window and, celebrating with your own lineman and running down the field. There's not a better feeling than, hitting one down the field and the crowd erupts and the team erupts and you just got the same, 10 other guys around you on offense that always have your back. I think that's what's so special about football is that ability to just have those 10 other guys, right next to you doing everything they can to get you to where you need to be.
Okay, so for Zach Wilson, there's been a lot of debate. Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, who behind Trevor Lawrence is the most talented quarterback in the draft. So for me, it was very interesting that there's never really a question who the Jets were going to take. Obviously, not docking Zach Wilson at all. I think he's a very good quarterback prospect. I think he would have done better in a better situation than the New York Jets. They obviously got much better with the 2021 draft, and I think they did some very good things there. He has some better weapons than Sam Darnold would have had last year. I think Elijah Moore is a very good pick. But Zach Wilson, to me, is not as surefire as a pick as I think a lot of people were labeling him to be. Nonetheless, for the Jets who need a quarterback, very good selection. And next up, we're going to have the third overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft. That would be Trey Lance out of North Dakota State University, quarterback selected by the San Francisco 49ers.
Spend time with guys. Just being able to spend time in the last few months training with a lot of different guys, like being able to train with Jalen, who's just up here. Just getting to know those guys that are special people and kind of came from all over the place. That's been, I think the biggest thing and most exciting thing for me throughout this process.
Now, Kyle Shanahan seems very excited about Trey Lance. He said he throws like Drew Brees and runs like Lamar Jackson. Those are two very big compliments from somebody who's regarded as one of the most well-known, well-respected offensive minds in the NFL right now. But here's the only thing I will say, and none of this is a dock on Trey Lance. Obviously, he has incredible statistics, great measurables, great eye test. The only thing I will say is Kyle Shanahan has given the keys to the Washington football team to Kirk Cousins. And then he's given the keys to the San Francisco 49ers a couple years ago to Jimmy Garoppolo, who are both fairly unimpressive quarterbacks. And I don't think I'm in the minority by saying that. They are not generational type quarterbacks. That's the kind of guy you want at number 3. So the only thing I will say, again, this is not a knock on Trey Lance whatsoever. I'm not inclined to trust Kyle Shanahan evaluating quarterbacks until I see otherwise. So I really do hope that Trey Lance proves me wrong there. And next up, we have Kyle Pitts, tight end, wide receiver, or as he calls himself, pass catcher out of Florida. Went number 4 overall in the 2021 NFL draft to the Atlanta Falcons.
Growing up, I would say receiver-wise, Randy Moss. That was someone who I really love. The popcorn, the 84. That's someone. His game is different. His swag is different. So I kind of like youngerly. I didn't know I was gonna be a pass catcher. I was playing running back, but I was just trying to play like him. But from my position.
Personally, I absolutely loved this pick. Matt Ryan was an MVP quarterback in 2016. I don't think that he has fallen off as much as people believe. I think honestly he is in, if everything goes according to plan, Matt Ryan stays healthy, his weapons stay healthy, I think Matt Ryan could be in for a 2019 to 2020 Aaron Rodgers type improvement from last season. If Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Kyle Pitts are healthy, I mean, the Atlanta Falcons are going to be a terrifying offensive team, especially with the fact that their defense is going to be putting up, allowing a decent amount of points. So they're going to be throwing the football a lot. So I love the pick. Yeah, you could have gone with the quarterback. I wouldn't have been mad with a quarterback pick there. But Kyle Pitts, obviously best available there. Great guy. Very happy to see him go to Atlanta. And next up, we have Jamar Chase, wide receiver out of LSU, who opted out of the 2020 season because of COVID. He was drafted 5th overall to the Cincinnati Bengals, reuniting with former LSU teammate Joe Burrow.
You know, probably gonna see this. Probably gonna see Cincinnati for the first time. Ohio. This will be my first time going out there. I probably say this will probably be the most exciting thing I've done in a while. I don't travel too often, so I think this would be pretty cool.
Now, I'll be honest. The Bengals did a decent job of addressing their biggest position of need later in the draft. And again, I'm not the biggest draft analyst, so I'll leave that up to some of our other experts at Primetime Sports Talk. But when you have Penei Sewell on the board, it is very hard after seeing Joe Burrow's ACL injury last year to go wide receiver. And I know that's not a hot take. That's pretty much one of the most popular takes from the draft, is that, reuniting Burrow with Jamar Chase, that's very much what he wanted. He texted Jamar Chase, Burrow did, the morning of draft night. So Thursday morning, he texted Jamar Chase and said, pack your bags, you're coming to Cincy. So, Burrow gets his number one wide receiver that he wants, his college teammate. They'll probably be roommates on road trips. But man, you draft Joe Burrow number one overall, you got to go out there and protect him. But again, in a vacuum, having Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow, can't be mad about that. And number 6 overall to the Miami Dolphins in the 2021 NFL Draft, we had Jalen Waddle, wide receiver out of Alabama, who's been receiving a lot of comparisons to Tyreek Hill for his speed. So let's hear what he had to say.
I really haven't been on my phone lately. I can tell you Raekwon Davis is blowing up my phone, if that means anything to y'all. But I haven't talked to Tua. Probably chop it up with him tonight. It was great. We never talked about it before. Kind of like if it happened, it happened. Didn't want to really speak upon it, but it's just great.
So as I said earlier, Jalen Waddle has been receiving a lot of compliments, a lot of comparisons to Tyreek Hill with his speed. Pretty much everybody assumed that Miami was going to go wide receiver here. Chase was mocked a lot because the assumption that Sewell would go to Cincinnati. Honestly, I would have liked Sewell to be picked, given Tua Tagovailoa's somewhat extensive. I don't want to say extensive, but he's gotten hurt a couple times. So if you want to protect Tua, I wouldn't be mad about Penei Sewell because he would be there protecting Tua for the next 10 years. I like the Jalen Waddle pick. Again, kind of like Jamar Chase. I'm not going to complain, but it's definitely hard to pass on what people really believe is almost a lock at Hall of Fame at the tackle position in Penei Sewell. And we're going to jump to the 9th overall pick because Penei Sewell and J.C. Horn were not in person at the NFL Draft, who went 7th and 8th to the Lions and Panthers, respectively. We're going to jump to number 9, which is going to be cornerback Patrick Surtain Jr., the son of Patrick Surtain Sr., obviously, who is a NFL quarterback. And let's hear what Patrick had to say.
I'm excited just to pick their brain. They're veterans. They're very dynamic players. Just being out there on the field with them, I think it helped benefits me, especially coming in as a rookie, being able to learn from them. They've been through the ropes. And, just getting the full-on experience with a very high-end defense. I'm just very excited for it.
So Surtain went number 9. And one of the things that was also asked in that press conference was, is there a little bit of a chip on your shoulder not being the number 1 corner? And he's like, no, not really. And his point in that was not that he's unmotivated, but that he's not really worried about all the noise. He doesn't really like looking at the news, reading media, all of that stuff. So for the Broncos, who already have a very impressive defense, to have Patrick Surtain on a one outside corner and Kyle Fuller at the other, that is something that I think Broncos fans should be very, very excited about. So the 10th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft was wide receiver Devonta Smith out of Alabama. The Eagles traded up with their division rival Dallas Cowboys to go up and get their guy. Talk a little bit about the Cowboys pick in a moment. But Devonta Smith, who had Devontae Adams complimenting him, something I mentioned in my question to Devonta Smith, just a guy who is very highly regarded. The only question will be his weight. And he answered in his press conference, he's not going to try to bulk up. He's very comfortable where he is with his weight. No issues, no concerns in his mind. So you're going to get Devonta Smith in Philadelphia as is. And I think Eagles fans should be very excited about that.
I would say the mental side of the game, me just being a smart player, just knowing where to be at the right place at the right time, just being able to read coverages. I just know a lot of things that defenses are trying to do, so I would say the mental aspect of the game.
As I said earlier, I love the pick for Philadelphia. You get Jalen Hurts reunited with one of his old wide receivers, and Devonta Smith is a very dynamic wide receiver. I'm not particularly concerned about his weight. You know, the concern is he's going to get hit by NFL guys, but with his separation skills, he's not going to get hit a lot. I really don't think it's going to be that much of an issue. Do the Eagles have other needs, such as corner? Yeah, they were pretty bad last year, so they have a lot of needs everywhere. That's just that, again, if you want to go with the best player available, I think Devonta Smith to the Eagles was the best player available at that point. And again, Jalen Hurts getting a true number 1 wide receiver now, I'm not mad at that pick at all. And last, but certainly not least, we have the 15th overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, quarterback Mac Jones out of Alabama going to the New England Patriots. Let's just say there were a lot of people who had this in their mock drafts, right? But somebody who has been compared to Tom Brady just in skill set coming out of college, the type of quarterback he is, putting that in the hands of Bill Belichick again just scares me a little bit. Do I think Mac Jones is going to be Tom Brady? No. But do I think that Mac Jones in an offense that Tom Brady ran with a lot of help from a good defense could make some noise in the AFC East? Probably. And would I be surprised if Bill Belichick was able to turn Mac Jones into a Pro Bowl quarterback like he did with Tom Brady, because Tom Brady got a lot of help in New England and really is not the GOAT, but that's a story for a different day. Do I think Belichick could do that with Mac Jones? Absolutely. And that's why I love the pick.
Nothing really. I mean, just training and hanging out with my girlfriend or my family or trying to play golf. I'm not very good at golf, but it is a good way to get your mind off stuff. But at the end of the day, I love football, and I always like to just go in, the quarterback room at Alabama during the pre-draft process and watch tape on whoever. So that's kind of what I do in my free time.
All right. So I kind of jumped the gun and did my analysis for the Mac Jones pick before I showed that quote there. So that is all I have from actual draft night coverage. I was able to get interviews with some of these guys, which was fantastic. So once again, thank you to Primetime Sports Talk for not only giving me a platform to consistently rant about the Green Bay Packers, consistently show my work, writing, social media, podcast, and otherwise. No words really show how much I appreciate that. My first experience covering the draft, you can see right there my lanyard hanging that have my draft credentials on it. Definitely an experience I will never forget. There's some things I can improve on, as always. So hopefully we'll be back next year in Vegas covering the draft once again for Primetime Sports Talk. So let me know what you thought of those interviews, the answers to my questions. What would you have asked to those first round prospects? It was great to see them in-person live emotional reactions right after they got drafted. Other than the TV guys, we were the first people to talk to them. So that was a whole lot of fun. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. As always, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments something you enjoyed that your team did, not just in the first round of the NFL draft, but in all 7 rounds. Give respect to some of the guys in the later rounds as well. And with that, you guys have a wonderful day. MJ Hurley from Primetime Sports Talk signing out.